Hey everybody, this is going to be kind of an emotional video. If you don't want to see anything graphic, don't watch this. It's not super graphic, like it's not terrible. There's only like 1 or 2 pictures with a lot of blood, and we'll get into that later on. We've got Kata, Theo, Lady, Betty, and Bluebell somewhere back there. Anyway, if you noticed, there's Blue. If you noticed, I didn't say CJ. CJ happened to colic, which for those of you who don't know, colic is just basically abdominal pain. Something had caused him some discomfort. It can be life-threatening in horses. In CJ's case, it was. This mare right here, Lady Doll, I've had her for a very long time, and she has had several episodes of colic. None of them have been fatal. She's had some pretty bad ones too, and she's also had some mild ones. Anyway, back on top. Monday morning, I was gonna go to work, and I work at a vet clinic, and I was gonna take my horse CJ and have his hooves x-rayed. I was all excited because I was gonna make a good video about doing these x-rays. And I went out to catch him at 5 a.m. and he was laying down, kind of like rolling. I mean, he wasn't rolling at first when I seen him. I thought he was actually already dead. And then I seen him twitch, so I went ahead and I got the halter on him and I got him up. We got there and he was still trying to roll, so you walk them in order to keep them from laying down and rolling. The reason you don't want them to roll is because they can twist an intestine, and once they twist it, you can only fix that with surgery, I think. We gave him some Banamine, which is a pain medicine, and he didn't respond to that as well as some of them do. We gave him the Banamine and we kept walking him. We did a nasogastric tube, I think is how it's pronounced. It's through the nose and down into the stomach through the esophagus. And he wasn't really easy to tube. We had a lot of trouble going down into his lungs and not into his stomach, but eventually we got it, and we gave him some water and Epsom salts to help pass it. Before, we've used mineral oil with different cases, but this vet wanted to use Epsom salt, which was fine. I don't think there's any difference in them necessarily. We did 2 buckets of that. We walked him, and finally he was where he didn't want to roll, so we went ahead and we hooked him up to an IV to get him some fluids to keep him hydrated. There was just not really any change. We talked to some other vets, and for me, surgery was not an option. We were not willing to send him on and put him through that much more stress. So at the local clinic, we went ahead and checked him for reflux, which means you stick the tube down and you try to get something back, and we didn't get anything back. It was really good. That means that everything's still trying to flow. If you get reflux back, that means things are backing up, and backing up is not really a good sign. We did do the x-rays. We went ahead and x-rayed his hooves just to kind of see what was going on. He has all the signs of a navicular horse. Turns out he is not navicular. His heel pain is from something else. It's not the navicular bone that it could have been, so that's good. The end of day 1, so we finally get home at 7 o'clock that night, and day 2 rolled around. I was supposed to bring him back down to the clinic in the morning if he had not made manure by night, and he hadn't by the next morning, and I was up with him all night. I walked him some during the night. I stayed up with him so that made sure he didn't get laid down or roll or anything like that. And he was trying to roll again, so I kept walking. Next morning, I loaded him up. Now we've made it a full day with no manure, and we get down there and we hook him up for more fluids because he still has no interest in eating or drinking because his stomach's still upset. We did another nasogastric tube, and we got a lot of reflux back. So at this point, that's bad. We went ahead and put mineral oil down him this time because we did the Epsom salts the day before. At this point, it's not good. So my vet said since I wasn't willing to send him on to ISU or Mizzou, that we maybe needed to go for a second opinion from a more specialized equine vet. So I took him to another clinic that's kind of local. I got there and he was having this discharge from his nasals of the mineral oil. He did an initial exam and he drew some blood, and he did an abdominal tap where he took some stuff out of his abdomen to run it under the microscope. Came back not good. What had happened was he had ruptured on the inside somewhere in his intestine. There's bacteria in his stomach. Once you get bacteria in your stomach, that's not good. Once it ruptures, there's no fixing that. So at this point, he was dead man walking, basically. We brought him home, and my local vet came up, not the same one that was treating him. It's a fairly large clinic with several vets, but another vet that I'm really close to went ahead and came out to my house, and we went ahead and euthanized him. It was for the best. At that point, he wasn't going to get any better. It was just in his best interest to not have to suffer through having a ruptured intestine. It was a really sad day. It took 2 whole days. Colic is not really anything to mess around with. I've had several good turnouts with my other horses of colic where they responded very well to treatment. I knew Tuesday morning when nothing had changed that the prognosis wasn't good. If you want to keep watching, feel free to. I got a little bit of footage of different things just because it was very emotional for me. My first priority was not taking videos and was not documenting all of it, but I did a little bit when I thought about it. So if you want to continue watching, great, go for it. If you're squeamish, maybe skip a little bit. There really isn't very much to be squeamish about. Keep watching if you want. If not, maybe check out the next video. Thanks. Bye. He is really dirty. This is from rolling, and I was obviously more worried about getting him treated than getting him cleaned up for videos. Earlier, we did a nasogastric tube, which means it's a tube that goes down their nose and into their stomach. And we gave him Epsom salts, and then we checked him for reflux. And he didn't handle the tube super well, and he had a lot of nose bleeding, but that's kind of normal. He didn't have a lot of reflux, which is a good thing. It means that things are still trying to work through his body the way they should. We're keeping him hydrated with plenty of fluid. These are big 5-liter bags, and a horse can use several 5-liter bags, so we spent most of the day on fluids. He quit rolling, so we quit walking and just stood around and did the fluids. Now we're going to do the x-rays. We went ahead and did them anyway just because we were already there, and he was pretty calm and he seemed comfortable. He has all the clinical signs of being navicular, and I really wanted to know what our problem was. Now, I have no experience reading x-rays. In this image, we can kind of see the navicular bone, and we also measured how much sole he has. It's only 5 millimeters, and farriers typically like to see 8 millimeters of sole. This isn't the best x-ray machine, but we could tell that he was not navicular. We could see the start of some arthritis, and on this image, we can see some shadowing or discoloration. It would be on the right side of the screen that appears to be like an old fracture, like he has broken his hoof at some point in time. This is the first night home from the vet clinic, and he's still trying to roll, so I had him tied up when I wasn't with him, and I stayed up with him most of the night. Next morning, I got Blue out, and we are getting ready to go back to the vet clinic because he hasn't made any manure overnight, and he didn't make any yesterday. And then I didn't get any pictures or anything while we were there. It was pretty emotional. This was at the second clinic, and this is the only picture I got for the day. So, thanks for watching. It wasn't a great video, emotionally or, edited, but anyway, thanks for joining me, and hopefully come back for a more lighthearted video. Bye!